Here we are yet again. This is a good one. The Dave and Dave Show, episode 111.
111.
I don't know about you,
My weight.
but when I look at the clock, I see 111. I see 1111 all the time. So we're on the alignment 111. You don't see that? You're not manifesting that?
No.
Not even a little bit?
One isn't one of my favorite numbers. One is the lowest.
It's not mine either. So here we go. Oh yeah, I like the background. I like the color. Look at that. I look like I got a tan. You look like a little boy next to me. Everything is perfect. There's a little bit of a big shirt. A little bit of a big shirt. All right. So there's a great song by Logic, and it starts with, "I've been gone for a minute, but we're back now." And I'm not allowed to sing the rest because I'm going to get in trouble. I'm always in trouble, but it's like, sit the fuck back down. So I actually said it. All right, we could edit that out. So here's what we want to talk about today. Every Dave and Dave show, I come up with the content because that's just my role, right? You just show up.
One of your jobs. I'm Ed McMahon, you're Johnny Carson.
I throw up the softballs, you hit them out. Right. Well, sometimes. Sometimes I have to put the bat on the ball. So
crazy, bro.
Listen. So it's gonna be a melding today of the market and the mindset because you can't have one without the other. We always talk about, the lines are blurred in life. There is no business life and there is no personal life. It's life. Right.
It's sort of why a lot of people ask me, should I have a Facebook page and a business page? And I tell them, isn't your Facebook personal page truly a business page? Because whatever happens in life and your work and your successes and your heartaches all go on that page. So I'm not a big person in getting a business page. I like to share.
Well, there's different ways. There's reasons why to get a business page. You can Facebook boost and do things like that.
Do things like that.
But they used to say keep it separate. I'm a big fan of showing who you are, even on your business pages, right? Mm-hmm. So, we still say, I hate the saying, it's not personal, it's business. I think that's a bullshit saying.
I think that's a cop-out saying. It's not, everything is personal.
Everything's personal.
What you do to hurt someone, you can't use business as an excuse.
Exactly. I can't hide behind the, I'm a good guy at home, right? So you got to have both. So, what is that? I hear something. Okay, so this is what we want to talk about. We are in a crazy market. Everyone's talking about real estate market, right?
It's cray.
Everyone. It's on the news. It's on. It's everywhere, right? So we're hearing about lumber prices going up. We're hearing about the shortage of inventory. We're hearing about interest rates being low. Or, it's just on everybody's mind.
Yeah, the lumber, they did a post in Facebook showing how much it's gone up and how much it is going to go up. Woo! It's like if you didn't want to do an extension on your house, you should have done it last year.
Exactly. So when we have out of balance markets, it really shows who is legit and does the right thing and who doesn't. And unfortunately, I know you're better at this than me. I take it so personally. I just do. I want to shake people and say, do the right thing, please. Please, you know what I mean?
Well, now that I'm in my 50s, I've learned to level that out and adjust. So by the time you're in your 50s, you may feel that way.
Well, I guess I'm not doing a good job because what I wrote here is there's a war going on in our industry. And I believe there's a war going on in the world and I'm being a little harsh here, but are you a prostitute in real estate in our industry or are you the ones in alignment? Or like I call it kind of like the alliance, right? And listen, if you watch every week, you see my father and I come on here and sometimes pontificate about what we do. And just telling you that there are people out there that are committed to doing real estate, committed to being in business, committed to being good people regardless of the scenario, that are very aligned with our values. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
But unfortunately, whether through ignorance or pure manipulation, there is a whole group of people in business and industries and real estate that, for lack of a better term, it's a prostitution ring. And what I mean by that is they're willing to do anything for any price. What do you think about that? You're going to take that softball? You're going to step up and actually meet that comment where I laid it?
The problem, I'll just go with this. Markets change throughout our careers. And if you adjust who you are through the market changes, you're going to take away the person you are as a realtor. So in a great market, in a bad market, in a crazy market, in a strong market, be the same realtor. Do the right thing, keep consistent, and then you're going to be successful no matter what you do. So that's my answer to you. Stay true to yourself.
But a lot of people talk the talk.
Yeah.
You know, social media is a beautiful thing. You can curate whatever message and however you want to look. It's a whole different game of walking the walk. You know, you got people pulling cars. You got all sorts of this pretty marketing, and when you really get down to it, they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide behind the marketing, hide behind the facade. And I believe this is a war. Now, I'm not here to expose people, and I'm not going to. But where we are going to expose people is we're going to bring in people that we're in alignment, both inside of Urban Nest and outside of Urban Nest, to show that there are the people out there that put doing the right thing and being experts and being great business people, great people in general, above selling out for a buck.
Some people devaluate themselves, and besides,
Fair.
you know, they don't realize the value that they have, and it looks like they're selling out.
Super fair.
And rather than a sellout, it's a weakness.
True.
Or a lack of confidence.
Agreed.
So there's a fine line. So maybe there's a little bit of training they should get
I agree.
that we provide to show them the value that they truly have that they don't understand they have. So when you see listings that are written poorly or not what we would consider a professional realtor, you wonder, did they do it because they sold out, or did they do it because they're weak and they're letting the person they're dealing with in the market dominate them?
I can forgive not knowing what you don't know all day, every day. I could also forgive not having the confidence or being inspired or led by another person to give yourself the permission to do the right thing, or at least feeling. Because I remember, like, I felt at some points when I saw people around me really cutting corners, especially when I did mortgages, and they were succeeding at such high levels, and I was like, is that what it takes to be successful? Now, I'm going to give you the best compliment I can give you as my father is I had I don't even say the honor, but I had the advantage to be able to look right next to me or as my father and say, wow, you can have it both ways.
You can.
You really can. Like, the speed of which you do something you may not see your results as quickly, but when you play the long game, it pays off. But people are so short-sighted, not because necessarily they want to be, it's they haven't had enough years to realize how it pays off, right? And it's tough when you're stuck in doing the work.
I think that the fact of your generation, let's say in the future, the generations.
No, it's always the generations.
Oh, wait.
I think it's
No,
every
wait a
I think
minute.
it's people in general.
Numbers are so readily available.
Yeah.
So they go, oh, look at her. She's number 2. She does 87.6 deals per, and it's all available. Rather, in my day, it was a little bit, I called them, I have a relationship with them, they do great business, and they're a successful agent. Because of the fact that the world has gone to numbers and the availability
Not
of
just numbers, availability, right? So
Right.
the access.
Right, and I do it myself. I look something up,
You get caught up.
and I just go in the computer and go, let me look. It's all at my fingers. But, you know, with us, we would say with a transaction, oh, I did a deal with Steve. What a great agent he was. He was there. Now it's like I text them, they respond. So the business has changed, and the fact that business has changed is great because you can get more done. but maybe not as good that they don't have the communication to learn. There's so many agents that call and I go, well, this is on the old contract. And they go, there's a new contract? And they
Yeah, but I think the main point you were talking about before you scurried off a little bit
before I ADD
is
that.
people make themselves feel like shit when they look at the numbers because they don't know the whole story. They don't know the content and they don't know the context of the numbers. So it's easy to look and say, you know, Sally's doing $25 million of real estate and I'm only doing $15 million of real estate. Sally is a baller and making a ton of money, and I now am taking my great results and I am like discounting them and devaluing them quickly, not knowing that Sally's spending a ton of money to get her business and giving away her own self for less commission. And really, if I compared 1099s or I compared P&Ls, I'm making more money than Sally. But because the numbers, I get in my own head, and instead of celebrating where I'm at, I'm like feeling this scarcity, rather than like just staying in my own lane and being focused on just doing what's required.
Celebrating it.
Exactly.
But we were talking about age a little while ago, and Sally is about the oldest name I know, and I don't even know any Sallys yet. So your analogy there, bud, has made you, maybe it's the gray in your beard.
I was just trying to think of a name of someone that I didn't really know. So,
Okay.
like, rather than saying, like, Julie, my mom, or my sister, or saying Angie, my wife, I just picked a name.
Sally is an old name.
Come on. Seriously.
Mustang Sally.
That's, all right. So here's the thing.
Kids that are 19 never even heard of the name Sally.
Also in the past, people were shamed by society into doing the right thing. Now, I don't know what New York is like now, but in the old days, back in the 90s, and I would assume 80s and 70s, right? Now, you'd know about that. You had to do the right thing in these small towns or even in Long Island, or you'd be out of business quickly because people held you accountable.
And the saying they used to say is, oh, watch your reputation. You know, that was a word.
That was actually a thing.
Whether it was a broker or a person that's dating, your reputation, no one uses the word watch your reputation.
Yeah, because now it's like, just show me the money you made and we're going to celebrate you, and that gives me permission and basically sell myself out.
And
to make
emulate
cash.
you, and we want to be you.
Exactly.
Because you do 90 deals in your name, and you have a team of 20, and you're actually each doing 5, and I'm doing 20 on my own.
Or
silly.
Who are you in real life, right? I mean, some of the things you hear about some people will make you like, wow, it's like a soap opera, right? You know what I mean? It's insane. So
It would make my hair curl.
yeah. So I feel like now, especially with co-ops, you know, we're not supposed to talk about commissions and things like that, but listen, we remember. That's all. Water seeks its own level, and everyone sees what's going on. And that's why I'm bringing on Craig Tann and Billy Alt next week, because Craig and Billy are both Long Island guys, and maybe it's because they're from Long Island, but they're not. You know, Craig has his own spot, Billy does his own thing. They're not urban nest, but they're confidants of myself. So when I'm like, because me and you are very aligned.
Yes.
Maybe the way we message out, here's the truth. He is a harder person behind closed doors. He's a sweetheart, but he holds you all accountable even though you don't know. I just hold you more accountable up front. I tell you, right? You don't like that I'm telling you secrets. So
I'm too old to care.
the reality is we're
Now that
aligned.
I'm in my 50s, I don't care anymore.
What are you going to do when we have your 70th birthday next year? What are you going to do when we're celebrating 70?
I'm going to say, wow, 70.
You look great. I can't even imagine I'm saying 70. But these are the guys where I'm like, all right, I'm in my bubble with my father. I'm talking to George. I'm talking to Jen, the brokers here. I'm talking to Danny. And, you know, we're in our bubble. We do things the way we do them. I'll call Azim Jessa, who's one of my greatest friends. He's an engineer. I'll call Jim Fong. I'll call Faith. I'll call Doug. I'll call Christina, Ben. Like, so many great agents that are here. But they've already bought in, right? So I'll be like, let me go outside. It's like getting a comparable comp on your own house because you know you're in real estate, but like you want another set of eyes. outside of like people you're with every day, right? So I'll call Craig and I'll call Billy. I'm like, am I freaking insane on this? What did you do? And I'm not going to give up these stories because I'm going to have them both on. But every time they're like, no, they did the right thing. And, you know.
Unfortunately, doing the right thing doesn't show up as much as doing the bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? So when everyone is doing the right thing and we have one person doing a horrendously bad thing, that shows up 20 times more.
So I'm going to give you an example. So we can't talk commission, but we can talk about changes to the MLS. So eventually, the buyer of a home will be able to go on to Realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin, you name it, and they're going to be able to see what commission their agent is getting.
Yeah.
We've talked about this in the past, right? And I was talking to Dave Sanders, another person I'm in alignment with, and he's like, it's going to change the industry a ton. And I'm like, I don't understand how. Like, how is that going to change the industry? I would love for the buyers to be able to see what I'm getting. If anything, if I'm getting a lower commission, I believe that my value is so high, they would say, Dave, I'm going to fill in the blank. And because I'm an expert, I'm a consultant that gets a consultant fee. But Dave has told me, and other people have said, is this is going to be the lights turned on in a lot of scenarios. Because unfortunately, and this is what I'm confident saying to all of you, especially the public, you need to know how much of the commission your listings agent is getting and how much they're offering to the buyer. And I don't believe a lot of sellers of houses understand how that number is broken up. So they'll be able to actually go on and see what it is. Because I don't think a lot of agents are sending their sellers the MLS showing how much they're offering.
I don't think so either. I think they're just saying sign here.
And I don't mind any split, any amount of commission. It is what it is. As long as it's firmly and openly and accurately disclosed to the seller and they understand how it's being done. Do whatever you want to do, as long as your seller is cool with it. You want to get 3.5 and over 2.5? I'm not judging. Your seller knows it and thinks you're worth 3.5 and they're going to offer 2.5? Go for it. If your seller thinks you're worth 1 and that's your business model, hey, more power to you. And you're offering 2? They think that's the best way to go? Great. Doesn't work for me.
Just let them disclose.
Exactly.
And that's like in my presidency in 2013, we had all the foreclosures. So since everything was so cheap, what some of the agents were doing was not listing it to the public and selling it within. And I made it that they had to have a notarized form that they were holding it off MLS and that the seller agreed to it so that the seller knew.
And now you can't even hold it off MLS. They've gone even further. I mean, you can get an office exclusion.
Right. I don't care. Again, I don't care what anyone's doing. I just wanted it to be honest, and the seller, who as we call the public, knows that their house isn't going on MLS, and the reason there were all those double-ended deals is because the agents kept them in their office or kept them within themselves and never gave it time, even in a horrendous market, for the people to get a little more
So
money.
let's talk about double-ended. Dual agency consent to act. It's when one agent represents both the buyer and the seller. Okay? Now, there's a right way to do this and there's a wrong way to do this, just like all of real estate, just like all of business. The best way to do it, the only way to do it, in my opinion, is when you're representing the buyer and the seller is getting the best absolute situation and the buyer is getting the best absolute situation, right? So in today's market, let's say I represented a house on Sahara, and you're going to get 10 offers, okay? And someone calls me direct and says, well, Dave, I'd like to work with you because obviously they're trying to think that I want to get
Houses are hard to get, and they're going
Exactly.
to come to the listing agent at a better shot to get the house.
So here's where you do it, where you should go to jail, is I try to get my guy in, the seller's not getting the best terms, there's better offers on the market, I'm not countering for my seller, I'm keeping offers for my seller. These are things that happen in the real world. It just happens, right? Making it hard for people to show the house. What should be done is I'm getting as many offers out there as possible, received, and then the buyer that I may represent is firmly aware that, guess what, you're going to have to beat out every single offer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're coming in at, 480 or 480 and it's listed at 450, but someone's coming in at 490 cash and you're 480, like they're gonna take the 490 cash probably. I'm sorry, I would have loved to represented you, but my interests on the buy side are not more than my fiduciary to the seller. And that's the difference of doing the right thing or just want to make money.
Doing the right thing, as I always said, in all the classes I taught, is to treat everyone you're dealing with as your favorite relative. And if you wouldn't do it for your relative, will you do it?
Here's my question. Do you think, speculatively, that a lot of these co-ops being sent out, that the sellers don't realize that the listing agent's getting more money?
Absolutely not, because there's no initial on it to say on that paragraph how the split goes. And now through the NAR rule, it has to be disclosed in all the listings. So one thing the public is very aware of is looking at their listing on Zillow or Realtor.com, and they're gonna see the split there, and
Eventually.
they're gonna understand
So,
what they did.
and I think in Redfin they're seeing it already in some markets. So, I lost my train of thought now. What were you saying before that? What question I asked you?
How handsome I was, and I agreed.
Yeah, I forgot.
So did I.
I totally forgot where I was going with that. It will be interesting though, when that is disclosed, how it'll play out. I really feel like, this is my point. So you have, because I was listening, I'm such an active listener that I forget my own thoughts. It's actually a good thing. If I was just remembering and waiting for you to end, I would just be toning you out and ready to jump in with my thought. But I actually have two parts of my brain. One trying to hold my thought, and the other one like really engaging with you.
Yeah, I know. That's due to me being.
That's like bipolar shit.
Me being a lefty, I gave you two sides of your brain.
So, because the public doesn't trust realtors so much, they're willing to take offers. We're bringing this all in, right? With the iBuyers. And again, I'm not going off on the iBuyers, but the reality is it's like a CarMax offer, right? Like, if I don't want to sell my car in the public or, on a website or something, I'm willing, just for convenience, to go to CarMax and get $1,000 or $2,000 less.
Yeah, or the dealership where you're trading it.
Of course, right? Where I could probably make more money if I marketed myself.
Put your little for sale sign.
Regardless, I'm sure there's other places you could put.
Paint
Right?
the
Cars.com.
Yeah.
Same thing with like DoorDash.
Mm-hmm.
Even though giving up
I'm
$25 for a freaking $100 meal because I won't drive down the street, that even pisses me off. Right?
I'm not a fan.
But it works out sometimes. It really does. Like when you have screaming kids
when
and
you have
nobody.
kids,
you know
my
what I mean?
thing is, I get my car and I go.
Well, what if you don't feel good? There's a lot of
I
benefits.
still get my car.
Whatever. So it's different though when I buy it, right? Like they're selling you convenience, but you're losing $20,000, $30,000. Like you're leaving a lot of money.
And my problem with that is
You're gonna steal my point.
Go ahead. Well, my problem is if they told me that I was
They
not
are
getting,
telling you.
if they
They are
told me I
telling
was
you.
not getting top dollar.
They are telling you.
Really? Where are they telling you that?
They have disclosures for days. There's the extra fees. Most people just don't put in the time to read
it.
What's going on. And unfortunately, it's happening on the lower end. And I don't want to say people on like the $300,000 and $250,000 need that money more, but you would assume there's less margins there, and $20,000 off a $250,000 house or $30,000 off a $50,000 house, they're getting screwed even more. But the reason why they even exist is because there's a window of opportunity, because the confidence in our industry, because of the prostitutes. You with me?
No, that's maybe not a bad word.
Oh, God. Not for all the prostitutes out there. I am not intending to offend you in any way. Okay? And now you feel good?
Yeah.
All right. Because of all the prostitutes out there, right, making the industry have a bad name, that people are willing to believe great marketing, because the iBuyers have great marketing, get sold on convenience and get so much less for their home.
And now can I comment now that you're done with your...
So you're basically waiting for me to end, you're remembering your comment, and you're not commenting on my comment.
No, I'm going...
That's
I am
what,
commenting.
you're not commenting on my comment.
I am.
All
You
right.
little prostitute. No. Here's how I feel. They're selling convenience and doing a great job.
Their marketing is on
Point. Yeah, like the baby
On-
puking,
Oh,
the
so
dog
for
biting.
agents
Yeah.
out there that don't think they can get what they're worth, the marketing is so strong that people are willing to sell their house for less, give the entity more, than sell it with a realtor, give you more commission, and them get more money. So if you have that mindset of you can't get what you're worth, just go look at the iBuyers.
Right.
Okay, sorry. Look at the...
I forgot what I was going to... No, I'm only kidding. So, the only thing I'm saying is right now, houses are going higher than even... This is the largest purchase in your life. Also, most of the time,
You're going to
the
be
largest,
ADD and completely
largest
off.
profit. But what I'm saying is even realtors now are saying the house is worth, say, $500. The
Yeah.
iBuyer person may give you $450, and you may get $550 because the market has such low inventory so high. So my plea to anyone listening...
This isn't an I'm listening. This isn't an iBuyer.
Yeah, I know it isn't, but it is in a way. I just want to get it out. Do all your options because in a market like this, you could get a ton of money for your house. I know it isn't an iBuyer conversation, but if the public's listening, I want them to get as much money as they can.
But I can't call people prostitutes.
You could call them anything you want. That's just breaking your chops.
So, back to where we're at.
So-
Most companies, I think, or most companies, most industries, most things go by the 80-20 rule. Pareto's law, okay? 20% of the agents doing 80% of the business, 10%, it's an 80-20. But I believe in real estate, it's a 90-10. But it's not just 10% of the agents making 90% of the money. It's 10% of the agents also doing the right thing. And that's the thing. Like, I don't want to see your success and be impressed by it. I won't be impressed by your success, at least until you show me your values attached. And until people step through that thought process, it's going to be an uphill battle in our industry. And that is, again, why I want to bring multiple people to this conversation of you and I with different perspectives, and who could be like, it's one thing to hear it from us, maybe you already believe in us, it's a whole other thing to bring in other people and hear it over and over and over again.
I agree with you, but I also think with the people that don't, a lot of it is education.
Well, it's permission.
You know, a lot of it is, I didn't know I was doing the wrong.
I think it's permission too.
Go ahead.
It's permission to do the right thing. It's inspiration, right? So I'm doing a class tomorrow. So I do a class for our agents. It's like a coaching class, okay? And the topic tomorrow is no one is coming to save you, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is one of my mentors' favorite sayings is, be a leader, not a savior. And you and I can't save the industry. We can't save it. You've been president of the Las Vegas Realtors. I've been president of Las Vegas Realtors. You've been president of the state, the Nevada Realtors. You've been the regional vice president of the National Association of Realtors. You can only move the needle so much. You cannot save everybody.
No.
It is impossible. But what you can do is lead. You can lead by example. And someone out here may go, you know what, I'm not an urban nest. I don't really know Dave and Dave. I haven't had a conversation, but something inside of them has been calling them to lead and do the right thing. And maybe they're broke, or maybe some trainer is telling them not to do the right thing and to sell out or sell themselves short. And the fact that you're saying it, and I'm saying it, and Nazim's saying it, and Jim's saying it, and Craig and Craig and Bill, eventually
They'll catch on.
they're going to get it. And they're going to give themselves the permission to go, no. I'm not a prostitute. Right? If you want to be a prostitute, own it. Own it.
No one wants to own it.
And that's the thing.
They want to dance.
Own it. You want to charge a certain amount and you discount yourself? No one's judging. Well, maybe they are judging, but you're allowed to. I'm not against it. Own who you are. Own it. But you want it both ways, where you want to sell out, but you want to be respected. You can't have it. Can't have it. What, you don't like that I'm calling people out on this?
No,
This is the
I think
exposure.
that it's all business models, and like you said, own it if that's your case. I don't want it,
Either do I.
but if you want to own that and that's what you want to be known for,
And guess what? We have the commodities versus consultants conversation all the time. This industry, before you go like this, you're gonna wake up one day and it's gonna be, you've been disrupted out of your job and you're working for next to nothing. That's fine. You're a commodity. That's life. You have no one to blame but yourself. Or you're sitting pretty, you built your business, you had the long term, you invested in your marketing, you invested in your relationships, you know your craft, you're a true craftsman, you're a consultant of real estate services. It's not even a commission, it is a consulting fee to be able to get the most money in the most convenient way, and the best marketing and best everything. Everybody wants that, and if you don't want that, fine, go to CarMax, go to DoorDash. Or you could go out to dinner and get what you pay for and sit down to a beautiful meal and a true steak.
I like going out to dinner.
One of the problems with us is a lot of you are only asking for burgers and we insist on giving you steaks. I was having a meeting with Danny and you yet the other day, and I was writing a picture of burgers and steaks. And I got to
And
stop.
I knew what he was doing, unfortunately.
Me wanting to save is taking that steak and shoving it in your mouth. And I can't. You want burger, I'll give you a burger.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to present
Give
what's
me onions
possible.
and mushrooms and ketchup.
I'm going to present what's possible. I'm going to give you a burger. It's going to be a Wagyu burger. It's going to be a delicious $10, $12 burger.
I want it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. All right. So that's the conversation. I don't know what, I know there's the prostitutes is one end. I don't know if I'm going to call it the alignment mafia, the alliance. I have to think about that for a second, where, listen, we're going to bring on a lot of people and show you who's doing it the right way. Pay attention who we're not bringing on to. That's the most I'll go with that. Okay? All right, let's talk
My
about
last
this
show,
market.
obviously.
No, you're allowed on.
Oh, I'm allowed on. Good.
You're allowed on. Who created the Dave and Dave show?
Dave.
Who forced you to sit in here, sit right here in the old, and said, we're doing this?
Dave.
Then I said,
But it could be me.
Then I said, we're gonna hold nothing back. We're gonna be real, right? I pushed you off the cliff. I had to push myself off the cliff too, right? Right?
But I put my hand to save you. You let me fly.
No, we go. We go. That's the difference. We're not gonna bullshit you here. We're gonna tell you the truth, right?
Yep.
It is what it is.
Let's
Okay.
talk about the market a little bit.
Let's talk about the market.
Let's talk about.
Oh, no. You were gonna. Remember that was back in the day. Let's talk about sex, baby. Remember that was a scandal.
And I didn't. I stopped saying
That was a scandal.
Because I wasn't going to be
I
the
mean,
one
now
on the
it
Facebook.
is. I won't even say what Cardi B's singing right now.
So let's-
After you won't even know what that means.
Cardi B, you better.
Right.
I know
Right.
it.
Now,
Great.
What was that? Color Me Bad? Was
What?
that Color Me? Was that
Yeah.
Color Me Bad? Right.
Yeah.
For you '90s children. out
Well,
there.
I got one for the 60s people. The Rolling Stones sang the song Satisfaction, and they said, I want to get a girl pregnant. And we used to turn it up to hear it because they censored that they were saying they want to get a girl pregnant in the 60s.
And me saying Sally is old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I am old, though. You're
All right.
not.
All right. So let's talk about the market.
Let's
So we did the stats yesterday. We were talking about. I think I talked about it last week. What do you have to do in this market? Right? Did you watch my Dave and Dave last week? You didn't watch it because you were not with me. Oh wait.
Oh, I did.
Acapella. I
Oh,
went
I did.
acapella 50 minutes by myself.
I did.
I
I
spoke
was
to
at.
myself.
I was a panelist on a hearing.
Yeah.
I was doing my civic duty.
Basically, to survive in this market as a realtor, you basically have to be in alignment. You can be a prostitute, but good luck. All right, so you want to talk about numbers. Let's talk about numbers. What's our average price? I mean, we're up.
363, the highest it's ever been. And
But that's just the median.
medium. Yeah.
It's like 450 something for the
Yeah.
average price.
Yeah, that's confusing people. But medium is
How do
usually.
you say median to me is more confusing? It's not really. If you go out and you're like the average amount
I'm
of
gonna have
houses
a
you're gonna
black and
see.
blue when I'm done with this show. I'm looking around.
Thank God for my energy. Thank God.
That's not my job.
All right, so if you're watching, I want a thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell me what you think of the black brick. I am all in on the black brick. I want some neon above it, although it does look a little, we look like we need some V8 right now.
So the market is crazy, multiple offers. If you're thinking of selling, sell now. It is the premium time. Interest rates are low.
What kind of comment is that if you're thinking of selling, sell now?
Sell now.
Just pulling shit out. Why? Why sell now?
Sell
Why
now.
not sell in a month?
Because, I mean, now as in now.
Now, I'm not going to let you get away with those
Now.
little open-ended bullshit comments.
Now.
Why now?
Because the inventory is so low and the demand is so high and the interest rates are low.
Well,
and
if you
everyone's
told,
buying,
if you
and
told
they're
someone to
buying all
sell,
the market.
if you told someone to sell in January, they left some money on the table. No.
What goes
No.
up must
So
come
I'm forcing
down.
you to actually have an opinion.
Spinning
So
wheel.
tell me what you mean by that.
I'm saying is right now
Burn the hand.
that if you are thinking of selling your home,
Yep.
the demand is outrageously high, the supply is outrageously low, interest rates
You're
are.
saying the same exact thing you just said
insane.
before. Okay.
That's why.
All right. Now I'm going to challenge you a little bit.
Plus, if you have a pool, really sell them.
So I'm gonna paraphrase for this gentleman next to me, because this is what I think.
fine.
I think that's what you're saying. This is the Bradley that Angie got me.
It's beautiful. This is
You can't redirect me. This is what he's saying. All right.
I have Velcro.
So what he's trying to say is don't sell now. He's saying is if you want to burn the hand, sell now, because now this is where you insert stats. You ready? May not mean anything, but the last couple of weeks, what has the inventory done?
Gone up
A little bit,
about 200 homes from 2 weeks.
right?
Yeah.
And when do we know when the peak of the market is?
For
How do you know when you're like, that was the height of the market, that was the peak?
when you look in the past.
You look in the past. So
We don't have little turbines.
So you see how like I'm making your case for you right now,
Thank you.
right? So the reason why I'm making my case for him because everyone comes on and says now's the best time to buy. It's typical jar marketing. And I call jar marketing is just another realtor marketing. Now's the perfect time to buy. Now's the perfect time to sell. But this is like the rate game. The people who didn't lock their rates in and buy in the past have lost to 2.5% rates. Now you're looking at high 2s, low 3s, and they're having
Having low threes. I don't think there's anything in the twos anymore.
There is, and I have
Really?
I have a case for
Monday.
interest only.
Oh.
I have a case for interest only. I was in a conversation with my friend the other day, and he was like, "You know what? Are you going to live in a house more than 10 years? 10-year IO. It's thinking outside the box."
Well, I
Who lives in
did.
their house 30 years? All right, so let's continue.
I did your interest only on HELOCs, and you're paying.
First 7 years.
Your principal
All right, so
never
we'll get back to that in a minute.
Okay.
So you're never going to know when the peak is until the peak is gone.
Absolutely.
So what my father's trying to say is, if you're really comfortable with the price and the value of your home right now, there is no better time because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
Yeah.
Am I paraphrasing pretty well for you?
You do very well. I'll let you interpret for me all.
So what will happen is, if you play the game too much on the peak and you hold too long, you may lose. And that's the scarcity play. But if you're ready to sell and you've seen market, don't leave money on the table because I'd rather sell when it's going like this
than
when it's going like this. And nobody's going to know when we're here. Nobody. I don't care who you think they are. Because even if you're perfect on predicting, the government could come in and change one rule,
and it's changed.
and it's changed.
But we're getting stupid prices. So if you're looking to sell, this is the time.
Even lumber is insanity.
Mhm.
So we will belabor this point. What are the 4 L's, you remember?
Lumber, legislation, labor, and liquidity. It was a good fourth lie.
Lumber, labor,
Legislation.
laws,
Laws I love.
and land.
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 Land I gave to liquidity.
Laws and legislation you can call the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same
Lumber,
thing.
labor, laws, and land. Those are your 4 L's. So your inventory is not going to go up to meet the demand because you have to buy homes, or excuse me, build homes. You can't build, lumber prices are through the roof.
Through the roof.
Good luck finding people to work. You can't even find them to work anywhere. The laws, we have BLM here, Bureau of Land Management, government-owned land.
Yeah.
So they have to open up all this land even to buy it, so it's stuck. And so we got land, so the laws and the land on that one are pretty much the same.
And it's funny because we truly have a lot of land. It's just too much of it is BLM, and as they open it, we have more land than, say, New York City, where you can't get a lot, or Boston or anything.
Exactly, you gotta go vertical, right? And we are gonna see that. So let's talk about this real quick, this 10-year IO. And this is when you become consultant and expert status, which you must deliver in order to get paid what you're worth or more. You gotta deliver customer service, you gotta deliver great marketing skills, and you gotta be an expert in your field. There's other things, but those are three of the main ones. Negotiation skills, that's part of the game, right? So thinking outside the box a little bit, you know, a 10-year interest only at 2.625, you're not paying any of that nonsense in the future. So your rate goes down to almost nothing.
No, I agree. And the thing is you need the deduction of interest.
And you're paying all interest. The first 7 years of your loan, what are you paying anyway?
Interest.
All interest. So what are you risking with a 10-year IO?
For me,
No, just not for you, just in general.
nothing.
No, you are.
You're
No.
risking dropping the price of your house through paying off equity.
Yes, and if you live there more than 10 years. Because then, here's your worst case scenario on a 10-year IO. It goes down less than what you...
Interest only for those aren't listening.
So, the
Talking
whole,
mortgage broker.
the whole great way, you know, you want to lock in, like I just locked in 30 years at 285 on my personal home. The truth of the matter is, I probably won't make it past 5 years in that house. But I have this feeling of, oh, no matter what, I got a low mortgage.
Oh, what a great loan.
Or I could have went 10-year interest only, and my payment would have been even half of that. And I would be betting that in 10 years it's worth more, and I'm selling it before the 10 years, because if not, I got to refi it into whatever the rates are that day. So I'm only locking in the great rates for 10 years and not 30. Your worst case scenario in this place is you buy a house, let's say for $500,000, and you put $100 down. You have a mortgage for $400,000.
That never goes down.
It never goes down. And in 10 years, the house is worth $380, and now you got to refi at rates at 5 1/4. Then you got a problem.
I did the interest only. I didn't like it. I didn't like that I always owed the same.
Only because you square, old school. The world is changing. It's changing rapidly.
I didn't like it.
You know, you could buy a $2.5 million house in Huntington Beach for $500,000 down, have a $2 million IO, and have like a payment of like $3,000 a month. That would make him sweat if I actually pulled that off. That would make him sweat. Maybe that conversation's happening in the Tina household. My wife is insatiable when it comes to California. No comment. Again, see? I made him... All right, so we got the market. We talked about the mindset. Listen, guys, let's bring this home. How many minutes are in? We're actually on good time here. We got plenty of time. I am a firm believer of drawing a line in the sand. I make a declaration. And maybe I burn a couple of bridges, but...
You sure it's a maybe?
No.
Like,
I mean,
I'm
if
going
you're-
incognito.
If you're a prostitute, be a prostitute. But if you're in alignment, start shouting from the hilltops, I'm giving you permission to say it. I'm doing the right thing. Right? I think we need a club, our own personal club.
Do the right thing, club.
Exactly. Great movie, by the way. Spike Lee. Make a declaration. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. That's it. You're either furthering the cause or you're making the situation worse. And a lot of people are very uncertain and they don't listen to their voice and they don't give themselves permission to talk, to take a stand on one side of it or not. Take a stand for what's right. I promise you in the long term you will win. But you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to actually Watch other people win that are cutting corners, and you're gonna have to be okay with it.
Agreed.
I mean, any advice on your 40-year career in business and real estate and owning a
gonna be
restaurant?
44 years
Right.
this month.
You're the guy. This is your spotlight.
Then
You're the wise sage.
You were
who's
allowed
like,
to get your license at 10.
I'm so glad I stop trying to discount it. You have almost a 50-year career of doing the right thing, and your life is full.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to explain how much this has worked out for you, or can you do it?
I had a 44 years and my life is full.
He has a son that respects him, so he has the money. Because you got to think long term. He's going to be 70, and I'm going to be.
I didn't even hit 69.
But at his 70th bash, which you'll all be invited to, we're also at the 10-year anniversary of Urban Nest. It's going to be a great year next year, right? You're going to be standing next to me. And I'm going to be looking at you going, I love my father. He's been a great dad, and he's been a great role model. Well, don't you want to be that person at 70? Like, you left it all on the table, you did the right thing, you didn't sell out, and you have a great relationship with your son, and you have a great business, and you have a freaking legacy that you could actually be proud of, and you're not looking back going, shit, I should have done it this way. I lost my son out of my relationship because I sold out. Or, I have a great relationship with my son, but I never grew as a man and had great businesses.
Well, I can't do it any other way, so for me, there's not even that question in my brain.
But you can, Dad. You think it's still a choice. It's still a choice, and you make that choice every single time.
And I always make the choice to do the right thing.
You do. You do.
It's the only way I know how to do it.
But you have a choice too. And you may feel like the only way you know how to do it is not the right way, but you do have a choice. He has a choice too. He's saying he doesn't, but he's created a value system that he may not be cognizant of or not.
And now you're telling me I have dementia, I'm not cognizant?
No, I'm telling you that you may not stop.
I'm only
You
kidding.
burned the boat somewhere along in your life and said, no, I'm not going to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you think you've asked yourself that question or not, it's a question that comes up in everybody's life. Nobody's perfect. You sell out a little. We're not all walking around with six-packs and we're perfectly virtuous. You're going to say you're perfectly virtuous.
I'm perfectly virtuous. I do not have the 6-pack. I have an 8-pack.
Exactly. So you got to start with the end in mind. And people don't think about that game, that rocking chair game of I'm 80 years old, I'm sitting on my porch in my rocking chair, and I'm thinking about my life and how I could have played it, what I could have went for, what I could have done. And I heard a great quote recently. It was something along the lines of, you only have two people you need to make proud. Your 80-year-old self and your 8-year-old self. Isn't that great? Your 8-year-old dreamer, that little boy or that little girl that thinks everything is possible, don't let that person down. And then don't let the 80-year-old person who's already there, right? The time-space continuum, there's an 80-year-old person sitting there, right, waiting for you. Don't let that person down either. Because you only got one life to live. Yeah, you made all this money, but you're piss poor with your virtues and your values. Not worth it.
Absolutely not.
Well,
And it's choice, and you make your choice, and anyone could change their choice.
you're right. It's never too late.
Never.
That's a great point.
Never too late. Never too late to say, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to change my business
Rekindle the relationship.
life practice. It's never too late to call a relative you're not speaking to and say, I love you, and start again.
That's actually an excellent point. If you're a recovering prostitute and you need to feel like there's a change that you need to make, this is your permission. Reach out. We've had some relationships with people who have made every wrong decision they could possibly make, and they said they were ready, and we always had an open door for them. You taught me that.
Forgiveness is the perfect way to go anywhere.
So that line in the sand, there's nothing stopping you from saying, I'm done, I'm going to go over to the other side. There's nothing stopping you. Right?
I'm ready.
Beautiful. You good?
Yeah.
All right. That is the Dave and Dave Show, episode 111, 111. You feel good about it?
I do.
All right.
I
we brought
feel
it
young
home.
about it.
All right. Have a great day, guys.